Joe Biden's Ministry of Truth, so-called Ministry of Truth, seems to be in the process of collapsing, and it's actually called the Disinformation Governance Board, the DGB, which is one letter away from the KGB. Kind of ironic. Anyway, this ministry is, just kind of horrible, because it's, again, disinformation, but the left's attempt to conflate disinformation and misinformation is terrible. Disinformation is very different from misinformation. Misinformation being anything the left doesn't like. And, similar to hate speech. Hate speech is speech I hate, according to both Michael Scott and the rest of the left. And this ministry is going to censor disinformation and misinformation, actually, because they just conflate the two terms, meaning it would be like YouTube censorship on an entirely new level. It would be anywhere you post anything, the government has the authority to label it as misinformation and then do something to it. So they hired Nina Jankowics to lead this board, and she's kind of a crazy person. Take a look at this video of her singing from a little while ago.
Pondering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious.
Oh, that explains it, does it not? I think that just completely explained why both misinformation is bad and she is a crazy person. So, the left just tried to claim that she is unbiased, which is weird considering it was only the left that claimed that. But then also, we just have seen everything from her, that she is a rabid leftist and is really only going to keep things like YouTube and Twitter censorship going. So, eventually, I think it was 2 days ago, it's Friday right now, we get a statement from her that she has resigned. And apparently the disinformation board itself has been paused, for the time being at least. So this is all well and good. But what I think is going to happen is this is still going to keep going, it's just quieter. So the left's only problem with this is that people noticed. And that's the whole thing you'll see with anything is, if Republicans make a mistake, then it's Republicans do something, that's in the headline. But then if leftists or Democrats make a mistake, always the same thing, then it's Republicans pounce. It's always your fault for noticing. It's the whole thing. But what they're going to do is just going to keep this going quietly, or at least keep pressuring companies to censor things they don't like. It was your fault for noticing again, so they're not going to do anything to help solve that. Alright, let's get to the news from the week. Yes, we are. I'm back. Grammar. And yeah, I was out of town last week, so I couldn't do anything. Alright, Jen Psaki has officially departed, leaving us with Karine Jean Paire. And obviously, I actually know how to pronounce her name, but I'm not going to. I just don't think people should just get to suddenly disregard English phonics just because it's their name. I was raised on actual English. I see no reason why you get to disregard that for no apparent reason. So instead, we can use actual English to pronounce her name, or just completely screw it up. I'm fine with either. Whichever one suits your fancy. Anyway, here's how she opened her very first day, which was a complete dumpster fire, by the way. All of her questions were answered horribly and in some fashion similar to this.
I am obviously acutely aware that my presence at this podium represents a few firsts. I am a Black, gay, immigrant woman, the first of all three of those to hold this position.
Yeah, so the Babylon Bee pointed out something pretty accurate about this. It was, of course, Babylon Bee is satire, but also hilarious. It was just, she answers every question of that day with, I am a Black, gay, immigrant woman. Because really but those were her credentials. She's not very good at lying. Jen Psaki was. She's just reading her notes. She's always looking down at her notes, and I know I'm doing that right now. It's a different setup, but I think she should just kind of maybe put some googly eyes on her eyelids, because then it'll always look like she's actually looking at you instead of just reading her notes entirely. It's kind of crazy. Alright, I didn't cover this last week, obviously, but a man attacked Dave Chappelle while he was on stage filming a comedy special, and this man who attacked him was a nutjob. Seriously, he tackled him on stage, and the police found a weapon on him that looked like a gun, but it was a fake gun with a knife concealed within it. Which is the dumbest way to hide a knife, by the way. It's like trying to hide the fact you're taking a gun on a plane, so you instead decide to hide the gun within a fake bomb? That isn't going to go well for you. Neither of these situations should. And we know this man was crazy, by the way. He also got charges for assaulting a roommate, and he was released on bail, I believe, because criminal justice reform is stupid. And barely any charges are being placed. I believe it's California's Attorney General, some guy involved in that. His reason for not pressing very many charges is they found the weapon on him. He didn't try to use the weapon. But if he's holding a weapon is crazy, by the way. If he's holding a weapon and then he goes and charges someone, you don't think he has the intent to use that weapon? Especially considering it is a very weird weapon that could also, considering it's a knife, would be used more commonly in the situation of tackling someone, because it's easier to stab someone than to shoot them while you're tackling them. It doesn't make any sense, the charges that they're not pressing, or the things they are saying to not press charges. But it's California. What can you expect? This was filmed in California. What do you want to expect? Alright, let's get now to the worst of the week. Alright, this week, everyone is the worst. Allow me to explain. Now, I know you're not supposed to alienate your viewer base, no pun intended, but I know almost everybody in the world sucks right now. And I know this was lamented by a favorite podcast host of mine, but I want to reiterate the message to tell you that you all suck. This week, Congress held a hearing on aliens, and nobody cares. Maybe nobody heard about it. That just further proves my point. It was a televised event, and nobody is talking about it. Nobody's talking about the fact that there were at least 400 cases of unidentified flying objects. What are they calling them? Unidentified aerial phenomena now? UFOs. There were 400 cases of UFOs. One of them, has been explained. One of them. So we have 399 other cases of aliens that nobody's caring about. And let's take a look at some Google search trends. Those are always fun to use. It gives you depression. Okay, this is my screen right now. We're going to compare the search term aliens. So let's see this is the relative interest. What is alien? Why does Google Translate come up with French to English on random pages? Have you ever noticed that? It's a tangent. All right, so we have a little bit of a spike. There's a small spike from 53 to 65, probably because of the congressional hearing. But let's compare that to any other issue. Say Johnny Depp. I'm struggling with the typing here. All right. Yeah, it doesn't even compare. Johnny Depp's interest spiked in April 24th to the 30th. I think that was part of his case. And then there was a drop-off as there was a break, and then it's back. And this is relative interest again. Aliens is at 3. Johnny Depp is at 61. That makes nobody's caring about the aliens, really? Nobody's caring about the fact that there could be an entire civilization that out in the universe that our Congress just held a hearing on, and we're concerned about Johnny Depp. America has problems. All right, inflation. All right, inflation is a bit closer to aliens. Aliens is at 27. Inflation is at 60. So, I guess that makes more sense. North Dakota, I've noticed. North Dakota has the most interest in aliens. Like, North Dakota's at 100, and all the states around it are at like 30 and 40. Look at it's the only state that has more interest in aliens than... North Dakota's weird, guys. Actually, North Dakota is correct. So anyway, none of you care. None of you annoying bad people care that aliens were just aliens were just discussed in a televised event in Congress, and nobody cared about it. That's insane. Nobody hears about it. Nobody cares about it. You should be caring about the aliens because I told you so, and I'm always right. So for that reason, you are all the worst people this week. And on that happy note, I'll see you all next week. Go get him.